Sorry. The thing was so cold I had to hold it in my shirt. You know, actually, let me get... Hold on. Let me take these guys off. Oh, now it looks so much better. Like here, it looks super orange. And now, I'm just whiter. So as you can see, behind me, I did a little bit of an improvement on my manga collection. Let me grab the second volume. Because this is the second part. Now, what I really wanted to talk about was, in this part, the pacing and the art. More of the pacing, but the art is really good. The art, I think, is really, really good. I'm a really big fan of the art. It has a different art style than most, but it's characterized, I guess the art is characterized as a battle shonen. Like, look at these panels right here, you know what I mean? Like, that's shit you would see in a battle shonen. You know what I mean? That's not stuff you will see in, like, a volleyball. Like, you wouldn't think volleyball would look like that. Which I can condemn the artist very much. Sorry. Box of comics. Maybe I should set up my comics somewhere, show them off. Maybe once all those series are done, I'll just put my comics right here and I'll show some of the covers off. You know, make it more atmospheric. Now, also something I want to talk about. This is the second volume, because I have it. Also something I wanted to talk about was the pacing in the story. And the pacing is absolutely amazing, I think. Okay, I should say this. I like the pacing in most shonens. I like the fast-paced pacing that's in most shonens. I do. But there's an exception. And that exception is called Kuroko no Basket. I tried to watch the anime. I did. I tried to watch the anime of Kuroko no Basket. And it got so boring because the pacing was too fast. The pacing was just too fast for me. I'm sorry. It was just too fast for me. For someone like me. 49? Oh, it's 57. I have my humidifier down there to make sure all the books are kept safely and they don't ELO or do any of that shit. Also, if you wanna buy from me Assassination Classroom Volume 1 or Volumes 1 through 9 and 11 of Shaman King, the singles, you can buy them from me. I'm trying to get rid of them. Please buy them for me. But the pacing is just so beautifully put together. At least in the manga. I know about the anime. I don't know about later in the anime though, when they release season 5, season 6. But the way the fights are handled, the way the manga panels are created and separated from together, and the way they're on different pages and on single pages and different pages and stuff like that. The artist or the mangaka really knows how to create like suspension in your heart. So usually in manga, a big bonus or either a negative in manga is the pacing, because you can decide your own pacing. You can look at a beautiful art piece in a story for 30 seconds, or you could do it for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? You can choose your own pacing. But in Haikyuu, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like there's a certain pacing that the artist or the mangaka is going for, and he's making you go by that pacing. This mangaka was born to be an anime because certain shots and certain events and certain things makes you want to read more or read less. Like when they're talking about expedition. That's what this. Sorry, I have a speech impediment. When they're talking about expedition, when they're like explaining the rules of volleyball, They have small panels. They're slow, not great art. So you can take it in and just read for regular. But when they have like, even at the beginning, hold on, when they have like these amazingly, drawn panels, like over here, you can actually feel Hinata moving along with the paper and as you're reading, because the way it's set up, I know it's backwards, but you're reading from here. You're starting from here. So you're going to read in a way where you're ending here, and then you're going to go back up to see Suki reacting to that. And then you see Kageyama reacting to that. And then you get some text here, and it goes back down to here when you can see more of the movement cause and Suki reacting to Hinata's, I guess, run or jump or whatever you want to call it. His movements, and then you have this really big panel right here, and you get these small panels that you don't really notice very much that kind of hyping the tension even more. And then you see Kageyama set the ball, and boom, big panel shot. So your eyes move with the manga itself, and that's why I wanted to include the art and the pacing together, was because they go hand in hand in a beautiful melody like song or rhythm. Now, what does this have to do with Kuroko no Basket? As you can tell, they're both sports anime or manga. And most people will either say Haikyuu is better or Kuroko no Basket is better. Or Slam Dunk or Ice Shield 21 or whatever other manga or anime you want to talk about. Does Ice Shield 21 have an anime? I don't, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Or Blue Lock. Or Blue Lock. People will say Blue Lock's the best one. Damn, I love Blue Lock. Whatever. And the reason is because they'll have some really hype moments. Some really hype, just really hype matches and moments. For example, Shiratori Zawa against Karasuno, Blue Castle against Karasuno, Date Tech against Karasuno. Literally any other match. But there's also some slow matches, like I forgot the name of the match, but it's Karasuno versus that one team. They have like the pink jerseys or the pink uniforms, and the one guy, he's like the little giant, but he's like 5'7". You know what I'm talking about? That guy. It's a little bit of a slower match. It's not. You can take your time with it. If it's more of I guess you could call it a filler match, but it's also involved with the character's progression. So, in Haikyuu, there is no filler whatsoever. There is no filler whatsoever. And that's great. That's great. There's no filler whatsoever because each match, each panel, each page, each word describes, characterizes, or story builds the story or characters. It forms a reality around your head. You might think, oh, there's some matches that don't matter at all, but they leave an impact on you. Like the first match against forgot his name, but it was like Daichi's like best friend back from middle school. He had a game. He had a team, and they were playing against Karasuno, and that seemed like a non-important match, But at the end of the day, it did hit, and it does make these characters grow. Like Daichi, it makes Daichi grow as a leader. It makes him question him as a leader. It makes him grow as a leader. So it's not really filler. Also, something like there's just some scenes where it's just the three 30-years just talking. They're just talking to each other, being friends, having fun, having conversations, And yeah, you could call it filler, but it grows the characters and makes you like them even more. So that epic scenes when, this shit happens, epic scenes like epic matches like Shiri Torizawa and Blue Castle, they actually make you feel something. I doubt, like, Shiri Torizawa's match would have been would have been better if we cut out all the stuff about Hinata wanting to be, what was his name? Oh my god, Ushiwaka? Ushijima? I'm just gonna say Uchijima. I think it was Ushijima or Uchiwaka. I think it was I think it was Ushijima. If he just wanted to beat Ushijima. Hold on. And that one scene where Hinata and Kaguya, they meet him, and then he's like calling Karasuno the concrete, and then he's like, he has got like those tiger eyes. That match would have hit less different, or just worse. That match would have just been overall worse, because it didn't hurt as, it didn't hit as much when they actually won, if that scene didn't take place. Same with all the scenes with Oikawa and Ushiwaka. Ooh, I'm sorry. Same with all the scenes of Hinata and Kageyama just talking about how they want to win, or Hinata just talking to himself. And also another thing with, at least in Haikyuu, the way they create the pacing in the story, it makes you feel like these characters are learning things and actually developing skills. In Kuroko Basket, it kind of felt like Space Jam a little bit. You know what I mean? If you saw Space Jam: A New Legacy, the second one, also a terrible movie, by the way. That shit sucked, but it was also a great movie. If it's a great movie to laugh at, that's what it is. But it kind of felt like the final match had like no importance at all, because you could just like make one goal and then make 1,000 points. Like, how the fuck does that make sense? There's no tension in that. And that's what I got with Kuroko no Basket. It kind of just felt like characters could just get a superpower or a special move or some shit, just create it on the fly, and then win the match. That's just kind of what it felt like. And I don't want to watch a match with no suspense. But in these matches in Haikyuu, you get suspenseful, and you feel like the villain could actually win. But you know the main characters have a fighting chance, because you've seen the characters grow, you've seen the characters learn, you've seen Hinata master his Queek Freak move, whatever. Now he can finally open his eyes, and he aims the ball so that he fucking wins. Okay? You can actually see these characters learn new things and grow as a team and learn new skills to use in different matches. That's what's so good about Haikyuu. It's not just, oh, I remember when my father used to do this one thing one time, and now I can bring it back to life. No, these characters actually learn how to do these things, and they're put into practice. Let me give you an example. Azumane, or Asahi, he would try to practice his jump serve, right? And obviously he said he was going to practice his jump serve, but we actually get tiny little scenes where you can see him practicing his jump serve. And guess what? It pays off, because he hits that jump serve and he makes like 3, 4, 5 points for Karasuno in the Arizaki match. I forgot how many points he actually made, but he made a lot of points and he put them in a good place. And imagine how much worse that scene would have been if they just was like, Azumane can do a jump serve now, and they never explained it, and they never mentioned it once. And you can actually see these characters growing to be better volleyball players. And that's great to see, because it feels like you're growing with the characters too. You can see Kageyama learn new skills. Even though he seems like a genius prodigy, you can see him learn new skills. You can see Tanaka learn new skills. Obviously, when he sees Bokudo do this move, whatever it's called, the curve hit. I know it's not a cross shot, because that's down the line, but it's like a curve hit or some kind. He looks at it, he sees it, and he's interested in it, and he tries it out in some matches, and they don't work, like, at all. He uses it against Inarizaki, and he gets the damn point. That's so cool to see, because you can see that he's been practicing these things. So obviously it's gonna pay off. Imagine if he just did that on the fly. And then there's one more character I want to talk about who just fits this perfectly, and that's Yamaguchi. Bro, if there wasn't a character perfectly paced in the entire story, it would be if there was a character, it would be Yamaguchi. And Yamaguchi is first put in the story as more of a background character, kind of like Inoshida and the other two guys, I forgot their name. and he's kind of just put as this background character who kind of is, isn't really good at volleyball, kind of average, doesn't really get put on the team. But then you have this like background story that's behind the main story of just him going to the convenience store, guy who like owns the convenience store or something. It's like, hey, can you teach me a jump float serve? And there's some scenes that we cut away from like the actual main importance of the match. We see Yamaguchi training. We see him practicing that jump serve. We see him practicing, practicing the jump serve, how to aim it, how to do all this other stuff. We can see his thoughts, his inner thoughts, and then we get this big payoff moment where he goes, okay, Yamaguchi, go up and do a jump serve. He's a pinch server, and he gets scared and he fails. And obviously, the coach Yukai is mad at him, obviously, and you can see his inner thoughts and actually how he's performing this. Imagine, and then after that, in the next match, I think it was against Blue Castle or Shiratorizawa, was one of those two. He actually pulls it off and makes like 3-4 points. Oh no, it was Blue Castle, and he has a celebratory victory. He can actually celebrate because he worked hard for something. He worked hard for this jump serve, or this float serve, and now he can celebrate. Imagine if all we heard was Yamaguchi wanted to practice, and then the next scene, and then in the next like 50 chapters, we just saw him do it perfectly. Imagine if that happened. That would have been shitty, right? That would have been lame. But we see these tiny little scenes, these tiny, tiny little scenes where Yamaguchi is actually practicing his jump serve. So you can see him progress and learn. So it's an even bigger payoff to when he actually hits it. He actually gets the jump serve. No one thought he could do it because he was failing so much. But you saw him practice, and he was failing when he practiced too. But you actually see him hit the jump serve, and it's an amazing feeling. Same thing with the Suki block. Oh my god, do I even have to talk about that? Oh my god. Same thing with the block with Suki. Hold on, someone just texted me. Sorry, someone just said, that's no one. Because I have to flip my phone like this because the texts are coming in this way. Whatever. Same thing with the Suki block. You see him wanting to learn more. You see him practicing with Bokudo and Kuro and the other guy and Hinata. And you see him love, seem to like take an interest into volleyball and start liking it even more. So then when he gets off that block, you know what I mean? He's been practicing, the block for a couple of scenes, and you actually see him get that block off. And not to even mention how the feelings that you feel because you know all this intel that Suki has that's in his mind, and you get a flashback of, whenever that moment's come in volleyball, you'll be hooked on it. And then he raises his hands up and he screams in the air. And we can have that same moment for Suki. We can have that moment with Suki because we've experienced the same thing, because we've watched him grow. We've watched him fall in love with volleyball. So we can have that same moment as the audience and as the character in the story. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I know I'm not that good at explaining Haikyuu. I know. If you want a better explanation of the series, and you really want to talk about it more, go to Harsh Review's channel. His name is literally Harsh Reviews. It's a YouTube channel. Literally, like half of his videos are about Haikyuu. They're all amazing. They all explain it so much better than me. He's such a better writer than me. Go watch his videos if you actually want like a good explanation on Haikyuu. That's all I gotta say. I don't know what the third part is. I gotta have to go look back on the first video and see what I said the third part was gonna be, so then I can actually look and put the third part in the damn story. God, I'm tired. I could talk about Haikyuu for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I would get tired. But I just wouldn't stop myself ever. I just would never stop myself. So, hold on, let me get the glasses real quick. Let me get the glasses. Damn it, okay. So if you've liked my video, go do all the shits. Ugh, don't excuse me. Don't do it. If you've liked my video, man, fuck this.